A left wading boot, size 7, resting upright against a crossbeam beneath an elevated fishing camp. Inside it, dark estuary mud and a right human hand. On one finger, a thin gold band with cluster-set stones, gone opaque from years underwater. The time was 7:42 in the morning. A Tuesday in the 3rd week of March, 2019. Michelle Larson had been running the same septic service route through the Tallow Creek Delta for 11 years. She knew what decay smelled like: sulfur, organic rot, the ordinary chemistry of a working marsh. What stopped her that morning was different. She climbed down from her truck, walked to the edge of the camp's substructure, and looked. Then she walked back to her truck and waited. She did not touch anything. That image, a left boot, a right hand, a ring, should not have been possible. A body decomposes in water. Pieces drift, scatter, sink. They do not stay paired. They do not rest upright in geometry. Someone arranged this. What no one standing at that substructure could know was that the mud inside that boot had traveled miles to get there. And the woman it once belonged to had been missing for 2 years. Amy Whitfield had lived in Tallow Creek for 22 years. She arrived after a divorce, driving from Mississippi with 2 suitcases and no particular plan, and she stayed. The coast kept her. She took a part-time bookkeeping job at a marina supply, learned the names of every channel, and cut within 15 miles, and built a life that fit the place exactly. She was 54 years old, methodical by habit and generous by instinct, a combination that made her good at her work and trusted by her neighbors. Her finances were in order. Her calendar was maintained. If she had somewhere to be, she was early. 6 years before she disappeared, she found a brown pelican tangled in fishing line near her dock. The hook had caught in the upper mandible. By the time she got him to a wildlife rehabilitator in Thibodeau, a secondary infection had cost him his left eye. She paid the bill, applied for a non-releasable wildlife possession permit, and brought him home. She named him Milo. Milo ate twice a day, 7 in the morning and 4:30 in the afternoon, fresh fish from the freezer on the back porch. The schedule was not approximate. Neighbors on the water learned to set their own mornings by the sight of Amy walking down to the dock with her bucket. If she planned to be away, she called her neighbor, Connie Tran, ahead of time, without exception. Connie had a spare key. She knew the freezer, the feeding schedule, the bird's specific impatience. There is something in that routine that matters beyond habit. A woman who arranges coverage for a one-eyed pelican before every absence does not walk out of her own life without a word. That detail would carry weight later, in ways no one anticipated. When Connie Tran first used that spare key, on a Saturday morning in early March of 2017, Amy Whitfield did not show up for lunch. That was the first sign. Connie walked over. The truck was in the driveway. The back door was unlocked. Milo was alive on the dock, agitated and loud, pacing the railing. His 7 a.m. feeding had not happened. The freezer on the back porch was full. Amy's phone sat on the kitchen counter. Nothing was disturbed. Nothing was taken. There was no note, no indication of a plan, no sign that Amy had left in a hurry or left at all. The absence was clean in a way that made it worse. The last confirmed sighting came from Jesse Arcanu, a counter employee at the local marina. He had spoken to Amy the Friday before. She mentioned a charter the following morning, redfish early departure. She seemed relaxed. She had no reason not to be. The sheriff's office opened a missing persons investigation. The coast was searched. The surrounding waterways were checked. Nothing came back. After several months, without physical evidence or witnesses, the case went cold. Amy Whitfield remained officially missing, and 2 years passed. What no one connected at the time were two other names. Patrice Holloway, 57, from Shelvin, had disappeared in March of 2015. Diane Estrada, 53, from Montagut, had vanished in February of 2000. And 16, her overturned kayak, found near a debris island, a case closed as a presumed drowning. 3 women, 3 coastal parishes, 3 gaps in the record that looked separately like accidents or absences. Together, they were something else entirely. But that pattern would take 2 more years and one impossible discovery to become visible. In November of 2018, a state investigator named Russell Carlson was assigned to review unresolved cases across 4 coastal parishes. He was 41 years old, with a background in financial crimes, 8 years tracing money through shell accounts and falsified ledgers. He had never worked a homicide. His supervisor, Lieutenant Patricia Holm, handed him a stack of pending files and told him to look for patterns. She did not tell him to prioritize any of them. Carlson pulled the Whitfield file first because of the pelican. Not because it was the most pressing case, not because there was new evidence, but because the detail of a one-eyed bird waiting on a dock, unfed, beside a full freezer and an untouched phone, was the kind of detail that did not belong in an accidental disappearance. He set it aside and kept reading. 2 files later, he found Patrice Holloway. 1 file after that, Diane Estrada. 3 women, 3 coastal parishes. 3 cases that had never been reviewed together in the same room by the same set of eyes. He lined them up on his desk and looked at the dates. Holloway, March of 2015. Estrada, February of 2016. Whitfield, March of 2017. Whitfield, March of 2017. Each one separated by roughly 11 to 12 months. Each one a woman in her 50s, living alone near the water, with a connection to local marine activity. Each one gone without a struggle, without a witness, without a body. Carlson began pulling financial records. In the months before each disappearance, there were cash payments, small, unremarkable amounts made to a business called Dempsey Marine Services. Charter fees, service calls, the kind of transactions that vanish into the background noise of a coastal economy. But there they were, in each file, 3 times, always a few weeks before the woman stopped existing. The business belonged to a man named Douglas Dempsey. Dempsey was 51 years old, a lifelong resident of Tallow Creek. His father had built the charter operation, and Dempsey had inherited it. A 24-foot center console boat docked at Cocotree Marina, a Coast Guard operator's license, kept current, a reputation for knowing every navigable channel in the Delta by feel. He was described by people who used his services as reliable, reasonable rates. He knew where the redfish ran. Carlson pulled Dempsey's service records. In September of 2016, 6 months before Amy Whitfield disappeared, Dempsey had done documented work at Camp Hutto. The invoice from Dempsey Marine Services was specific: inspection of lift mechanisms, replacement of railing, hardware, reinforcement of a crossbeam, review of the substructure. He had been under that camp with tools in his hands. He had spent time in the space beneath the floorboards, learning its geometry, its shadows, its patterns of absence. Carlson noted it and kept going. Then came the purchase record in October of 2016, 1 month after the Camp Hutto job, 5 months before Whitfield vanished. Dempsey had bought 2 pairs of women's wading boots, size 7, at a regional retailer in Houma. The purchase surfaced under a subpoena of his loyalty card records. When investigators later asked Dempsey who the boots were for, he could not name anyone. No female family member wore that size. He had no explanation that held 2 pairs, size 7, no recipient. The boot Michelle Larson found under Camp Hutto was a left-foot wading boot, size 7, bearing the private label of that same regional retailer in Houma. That loop had closed, but a second one had just opened. The forensic laboratory in Baton Rouge returned its soil analysis on a Tuesday afternoon. The result was precise and at first confusing. The mud packed inside that boot, the mud that had been sitting under Camp Hutto against a crossbeam through 2 winters of tidal fluctuation, did not match the substrate beneath the camp itself. The soil under Camp Hutto was a mixture of clay and crushed shell consistent with the immediate delta floor. The mud inside the boot was something different, high organic peat content, brackish, consistent with interior canal sediment several miles to the northwest, in the cuts near Bayou Caillou. The boot had been somewhere else before it ended up under that camp. The hand had been somewhere else too. That realization is what forced the next question. If the boot and the hand did not originate at Camp Hutto, if the mud inside them came from a different stretch of water entirely, then someone had transported them. Someone who knew both locations. Someone who had worked at Camp Hutto and had also spent time in the interior canals near Bayou Caillou. Investigators pulled the GPS data from Dempsey's boat under a court order. The unit had logged every trip, every anchor point, every idle hour on the water. Most of it was routine. Charter runs, service calls, the ordinary geometry of a working boat operator in the Delta. But there were gaps, dates with no registered charter, no documented client, no service invoice, and on those dates, the GPS showed the same anchor coordinates, repeated in a single location: interior marsh, northwest of Camp Hutto, the cuts near Bayou Caillou, the same mud, the same place, no record of why he was there. There is something about a GPS unit that a person tends to forget. It does not record intention. It does not explain itself. It simply marks where a thing was. And Dempsey's boat had been to that location more times than any legitimate work could account for, on days when no one knew he was there, doing nothing he had written down. The water was supposed to have erased all of it. Most of it had, but not the mud and not the coordinates. When investigators finally confronted Douglas Dempsey, the record they had was already substantial. The cash payments from 3 victims, the Camp Hutto invoice, the boot purchase with no recipient, the GPS anchor points at Bayou Caillou, repeated, undocumented, the soil analysis connecting that location to the object found under the camp. What they did not have was a single witness who placed Dempsey with any of the 3 women on the days they vanished. Until Dempsey spoke. In a recorded statement, he acknowledged that Amy Whitfield had been on his boat the morning she disappeared. He said it was an accident. He said he panicked. He did not elaborate on what kind of accident or what panicking had meant in the hours and days that followed. He denied any involvement in the deaths of Patrice Holloway or Diane Estrada. He said their names as if they were strangers to him. Picture what the investigators had believed up to that moment, the working assumption, the assumption built from 2 years of a cold case, from a missing persons file with no witnesses, from an original search that found nothing, was that Amy Whitfield had never made it to the charter, that she had perhaps gone to the water alone before dawn, and something had happened there. The charter, it seemed, was just a plan she had mentioned. The boat she had been heading toward was just background, but she had been on that boat. She had gotten up early on a Saturday morning in March of 2017, the same morning Milo waited on the dock, and the freezer sat full, and the phone stayed on the counter. She had gone to the marina. She had stepped aboard, and Douglas Dempsey The man who knew every channel in the delta, who had worked the underside of Camp Huto, who had bought 2 pairs of women's wading boots, with no one to give them to, had taken her out onto the water. The original file had treated the charter as an absence of information. It was the opposite. It was the event. But here's the thing. Dempsey's denial about Holloway and Estrada did not hold the weight he may have hoped it would. The financial records already connected his business to each woman in the weeks before she vanished. The GPS already showed those unmarked visits to the same interior coordinates. 3 women, 3 cash payments, 3 disappearances spaced 11 months apart. 1 man whose boat went to the same hidden location on days nobody had asked about. The jury deliberated for 9 hours. The verdict came back on all 3 counts. Guilty, first-degree murder, Patrice Holloway, 57, from Chauvin. Diane Estrada, 53, from Montagut. Amy Whitfield, 54, from Tallow Creek, identified by mitochondrial DNA and dental records from a single hand recovered from the mud of a coastal estuary. 3 names, 1 conviction, no recovered remains beyond that hand. And 1 question the trial never required Dempsey to answer: why he had kept it. Russell Carlson drove to Baton Rouge on a Thursday afternoon in late April of 2019. Not because the paperwork required it, because he needed to see the boot. 1 more time. The case was closed. Douglas Dempsey had been convicted on all 3 counts of first-degree murder. The jury had taken 9 hours, long enough to weigh every loop in the evidence, short enough to signal that the loops all closed in the same direction. The verdict covered Amy Whitfield, Patrice Holloway, and Diane Estrada, 3 women from 3 small communities along the Louisiana coast. 3 disappearances that had each, for a time, been filed as something other than what they were. Dempsey had been arrested on a Thursday afternoon in April of 2019 at Cocodrie Marina while cleaning his boat. According to reports, he was calm. That word appears more than once in the file. Calm when the investigators approached. Calm when they placed the handcuffs. Calm in a way that told Carlson nothing useful and everything important at the same time. In the recorded statement, Dempsey admitted that Amy Whitfield had been on his boat the morning she disappeared. He said it had been an accident. He said he panicked. He denied any involvement in the deaths of Holloway and Estrada. The financial records did not share his denial. His GPS unit did not share it either. 3 cash payments to his business, 3 women, 3 unmarked trips to the same interior coordinates near Bayou Caillou. The prosecution did not need his confession on those 2 counts. The pattern was its own testimony. There was 1 moment in the trial that did not come from a forensic report or a GPS log. It came from a neighbor named Connie Tran. She described Milo, the one-eyed pelican Amy Whitfield had rescued 6 years before her death, the bird she fed every morning at 7 and every afternoon at 4:30. The creature for whose care she arranged coverage without exception whenever she planned to be away. Connie Tran told the jury that Milo was alive and hungry and agitated when she found him 2 days after Amy vanished, that the freezer on the back porch was full, that the phone was on the counter. She told them that the woman she knew would not have left that bird without making a call. The jury heard that, and then they deliberated for 9 hours and came back with 3 counts. The case, as of the record, is closed. Diane Estrada's kayak had been found overturned near a debris island in 2016. Her disappearance had been classified as a probable drowning. The classification was wrong. No remains were ever recovered. Patrice Holloway had been missing since March of 2015. No remains were ever recovered. Amy Whitfield was identified through mitochondrial DNA analysis and dental records from a single hand. The rest of her was not found. That is the record. That is where the evidence ends and the silence begins. There is one question the trial did not answer. It did not require answering to reach a verdict, and the law does not compel a defendant to explain himself beyond what the evidence demands. But the question remains, why did he keep it? The forensic record established that the hand had been stored elsewhere before it appeared, under Camp Huto. The mud inside the boot was organic peat from the interior channels, near Bayou Caillou, not the clay and shell substrate beneath the camp. The hand had been moved. It had been carried from one place to another, placed inside a left boot, size 7, and set on a crossbeam in the understructure of a camp he had serviced 2 years before anyone found it. That act, the placement, was deliberate. Everything about it was deliberate, and the reason behind it was never spoken aloud in any courtroom. There are things the evidence can establish and things it cannot. It can place a man at a location. It can trace the origin of mud. It can match a ring to a jeweler in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and a sale in 1989. It can prove beyond the standard the law requires that 3 women are dead and 1 man is responsible. It cannot reach inside a mind and pull out meaning. There is no tidy answer to offer here. That absence is not a failure of the investigation or the prosecution. It is simply the shape of what happened. What is known is this: Amy Whitfield built a life in Tallow Creek over 22 years. She kept her accounts in order. She knew the rhythm of a supply, marina. She rescued a pelican that nobody else wanted and paid for his care and arranged his feeding schedule around her own. She was, by every account in the record, a woman who organized her world around keeping things alive. Milo is still in Tallow Creek, according to those close to the case. Connie Tran still holds the key to the house. After the verdict, Russell Carlson drove to the state laboratory in Baton Rouge. He stood in front of the evidence shelf and looked at the boot through its plastic bag. A left boot. A right hand, mud, from miles away from where both were found. He did not explain to his colleagues why he had made the drive. There was nothing left to investigate. The case was closed. He looked at the boot for a long time, and then he drove back. Some cases answer every question the law requires, and leave one question standing in the room. This is one of those cases. This show is made by Oba Media.